YouTube is very out of touch with its creators. From an outside perspective, YouTube is out of touch with its creators and its viewers. In a previous video, I've already mentioned 3 separate things that YouTube could do and implement very easily in order to be more transparent and easily accessible to viewers and content creators. In this video, however, I wanted to focus more on why certain reasons from an outside perspective, YouTube could seem out of touch to its viewers and its content creators. For the last couple of years, YouTube has been making some very interesting and very weird changes to its platform that can seem very outlandish to a lot of people, and it almost seems like it doesn't make sense. And I wanted to explain and go into depth into these kind of things and explain it to you guys. From my perspective anyway. Now before we get into this, I just want to say very quickly that I do enjoy YouTube. I enjoy it as a platform and all the different benefits that come from being on YouTube and watching YouTube. I've been a content creator for many years, and I do wholeheartedly endorse and enjoy this platform, but there are a lot of nitpick things that are actually big things that YouTube could be improving. I kind of wanted to help explain that to people who don't quite understand why YouTube has done the things that they've done. So again, the context of this video is not to drag YouTube or anything like that, it's just simply to point out a few things. A lot of people seem to think YouTube is out of touch, to which they are, whether they realize it or want it or not. So let's dive right into the big one, the big juicy meaty bite morsel of what? The big main reasons as to why YouTube is out of touch. One of the very biggest reasons that was very recent was YouTube Rewind. Due to the fact of being the most disliked video in history and getting that title very quickly, but getting that specific one out of the way, I'll explain in further detail the reasons for this. Some of the other reasons could be the sub box not working, or getting notifications like last year of content creators that you never even subscribed to instead of getting notifications for people that you were already subscribed to. The algorithms, the sub box, the community tabs, recommended videos, creators being demonetized for no reason whatsoever, channels entirely being shut down either by accident or by purpose, the blacklisting of certain content creators, both political and not political content creators. More and more it seems like YouTube is becoming advertiser friendly. However, there is a few issues with that, and I will get into that. But a lot of their major problems come from the vagueness of their terms of service, the way that they interact with the others on Twitter and YouTube itself, and newsletters and all that jazz. And I think where a lot of this comes into play is the fact that YouTube is a business, and as a business owner myself, I can understand a lot of the practices and the purposes of the certain reasons that they do things. However, there is a slight misconception here. People assume very blatantly that YouTube is beholden to its creators and its viewers. That's not the case. YouTube is beholden to their advertisers as well as their investors. There is a thing about the investors though, and we'll get into that a bit later. YouTube is not just one of the biggest platforms on the planet or biggest companies in the world. YouTube is monopoly. YouTube is a monopoly on video sharing. Their main goal, despite what they might tell everyone else, is to make money, is to get advertisers, it's to create profit. At one point it might have been, oh, let's share these videos with other people, that might be fun. One point, yes, the creators of YouTube, that was their purpose. Now, obviously with changes of CEO and the selling of companies and all that stuff, it is now to create profit. That and to keep their monopoly on video sharing. Why can't I say monopoly today? So quickly before we get into everything after this, the main goals of YouTube: to increase profits, to increase viewerships, to increase subscriptions, to increase advertisers, as well as to keep as many people on the platform as humanly possible at one time. In other words, they have the monopoly and they want to keep it. Even saying the word monopoly sounds weird coming out of my mouth. I don't even feel like I'm saying it correctly. What is going on? So let's just get into some of the bad practices that they've been doing and how it will affect them in the long run and the short term as well. Number one is their lack of honesty with their content creators, their viewers, and everyone else. They might be fully honest with their advertisers as well as their workers. It is debatable though. But an example of this is the monetization scheme. This is something that I'm still trying to figure out. Their monetization rules are very vague. For a good reason. And that's a problem. That's a very big problem. But the reason for this is because of certain rules and laws in the different places that they're situated. They cannot put very specific rules on their platform. Because if they do, they're not quite sure how it will affect them in certain countries. Because in certain countries, the laws on what is advertisable or what countries and businesses will advertise them are vague as well. So it's an ever-flowing thing. So because they keep it as vague as possible, they're able to enforce any policies that they want on their monetization scheme in order to keep advertisers coming in. This in and of itself is a very bad thing because content creators in and of themselves don't know when or when not to post certain things to get down in the algorithm or to get unmonetized, to simply have their videos put in limbo and not shared. It is a very difficult thing for the people who are giving them content to make money on to understand and to adhere to their rules, essentially. This lack of honesty is also very apparent when it comes to copyright strikes and claims and all that stuff, because as you see on Twitter a lot, if you follow the YouTube Twitter account, you'll see them talking with a whole lot of different YouTubers and YouTubers clearly showing where it contradicts what's occurring to them with other channels. This lack of honesty of what is actually allowed to be monetized or not is slowly degrading any kind of respect and honesty that YouTube may have or had in the first place. It is why almost every single content creator that is well off or has a lot of subscribers or followers or viewers has other sources of income, which, to be fair, as a person who personally thinks you should have at least 3 sources of income, I can understand that. But when your main source of income comes from a video sharing platform like this, it can be very, very difficult. At the same time, it just proves to show that they need to work on their communication, their honesty, because their honesty is not very reliable. What one person may say as a higher up, people lower down that are actually doing the work are going to turn around and think, those are the rules we have to enforce, they're enforcing them. But they get caught out a lot. There are multiple examples of this, like the CEO saying one thing and people who are representatives of YouTube and like their PR and stuff like that saying a completely opposite thing. And it's very, very common for big companies and organizations to have that kind of disconnect between the top brass giving a PR. You know, the lower downs doing it as well. There is a lot of disconnect between it, so the honesty there is not there at all. And that is eventually going to bite them in the ass, because it is already biting them in the ass, because none of their content creators trust the things that YouTube is saying. They have to go out and do their own investigation and figure it out for themselves, which again is very difficult, as said before, because of the vagueness of a lot of the terms and conditions they have. Second one ties in with the first one, the lack of communication. When YouTube rolls out a new addition to their platform, like changing the Creator Studio, when they used to have customizable channels, a lot of that stuff that was implemented was never really told. So everyone who had a channel and did these certain things on these channels and, you know, customized their account for hours or, you know, subscribe to certain people and all that different stuff, they were not informed. There was no press release. There was no, oh, hey, we're doing this. You have to do this a certain way now. Their communication is terrible. And it's very evident, as said before, if you go to their Twitter, you will find that the communication, the multiple peoples who are doing the PR are not in communication with each other. And if they are, someone's not doing a very good job. So their honesty and their communication is right out the window because it's not very good. You would think that a company of that size, under the leadership of Alphabet and Google, you would think that they would be able to afford it. But I don't think it's an issue of them affording it. I think it's an issue of they don't even know what is going on. From a business perspective, I can actually think that that's the case. I think that there's no communication, proper communication within the ranks. And as a result, it is showing very, very clearly in the rest of the platform and their PR and everything like that. The third thing and the most important thing I would say is YouTube is trying to keep its monopoly on the video sharing platform, but it's also trying to turn itself into TV. The reason that we all went away from TV is because we could choose what we wanted to watch. And this is very, very evident in things like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, where you can watch proper full-on TV shows without having to wait for it to come up on the channel. The issue with YouTube wanting to become TV is that they know for a fact that if they can become the new TV, the online internet TV, they can get more advertisers, they can get more money, they can make more profits. They can also make sure that they're in good press with the media by having the media's channels and the late night TV shows and all that stuff, which have become very, very popular on YouTube as of late, and always seem to be on the trending page no matter how many views they have. But it's very, very obvious that YouTube is trying to become the new TV. And that will backfire on them, I believe. Now, you have big creators creating TV-like produced content, and they are not getting the same responses from YouTube, not from viewers or content creators, but from YouTube itself, as TV production studios and all that stuff. And the reason for that is because they know for a fact that they can advertise much easier through shows like that. It's why they made a big push for YouTube Red, which now is YouTube Premium, I believe. They changed that very quickly again without having to tell anyone that the change was the case. So again, you can see a lot of the business practices that they're doing that almost seem shady, but they're not. They're just not telling anyone about it. The fourth issue here, and it's almost as important as the third one, but the fourth one is that they overestimate themselves. They overestimate themselves as the video sharing platform. And the way I'm trying to explain this for everyone who doesn't have a business mindset is very, very simple. They overstretch themselves. They are trying to appease advertisers, investors, Google, the media, its viewers, and creators all in one. However, it's very, very evident that they can't do that, and there's a hierarchy of who they're trying to please. Advertisers and investors at the top, viewers about the third, and then content creators way down at the bottom, beside just under the media. However, everyone who has a family or has been in a big group of friends knows for a fact that you can't please everyone. There will always be one that takes offense or takes notice or says, no, that's not going to work for me. And that's kind of what YouTube is trying to do. And it is very, very obvious that they are trying to balance so many things, which is why they've gone into so many scandals and they're doing so many bad business practices. It's because they're trying to balance everything. But at the same time, they're not doing a very good job of balancing it because they're beholden to certain, let's say, forces more so than their content creators who are providing them the content or even the viewers themselves. This whole issue becomes vastly more complicated whenever you start talking about investing, because to buy stock in YouTube you actually have to invest in Alphabet. So when you're investing in Alphabet, you're actually investing in all of the different companies that Alphabet owns. So trying to invest in YouTube and then get a word in and a say in becomes a lot more complicated because you're investing in well over 100 different companies. It's kind of why change is so slow, but also not what's probably best for the viewers or the content creators. It's more so of the investors. That's why there's such a big disconnect. That's why YouTube is so disconnected from its audience and its creators. Now, in reality, I could probably list off like 20 to 100 different things that YouTube could potentially do in order to improve these situations, but the reality is, I'm not in any position to help them. And the reality is as well that YouTube itself, with all its flaws in PR and infrastructure and the advertising and investing scene in it as well, they're not really in the position to fix it properly either, which is a very weird thing to have to say about a company. A very weird thing. There is no easy solution right now to fix this. So we kind of have to just keep battering down the walls and saying, hey, fix this, fix this, fix this, until it gets to all of them to agree on the same thing, which is very, very difficult because some of them will not even care. They'll just care about the profits, you know, because a business. I realize the way I'm talking about this makes it seem like such an evil thing. Well, it's not. You know, a lot of people are good folk, and a lot of people do want what's best for the company. So again, don't take any of this as like a rant or anything like that. I'm just trying to explain the different aspects and reasons as to why YouTube is the way it is. All the people there, they're not all bad. You know, there's probably a lot of really nice, genuine, interesting, and funny people there with good, honest hearts. But all it takes is one or two to ruin the entire thing. That's, you know, that's kind of how it works. You know, the bad apple messes up the rest of the basket. Is that the expression? I don't know, it's something like that. Like I said, there's no easy solution to this. There are pros and cons to every situation that they will be attempting to resolve now. You know, there's no single direction for them to go. There will always be multiple forks in the roads for them to actually go through, especially with all the hoops that they have to go through to get one particular change in the first place. But right now they are making things so much more easy for people to look at them and go, yeah, YouTube's out of touch. And again, I bring up the example of YouTube Rewind. It just proves to show that YouTube is trying to be TV. The viewers and the content creators don't want that. That's why they're out of touch. It's because of advertising, it's because of the media, it's because of all these different aspects combined that they are trying to please everyone and not really doing a good job at it. That's kind of why. So, like I said, I hope this brings to light some of the reasons why YouTube seems out of touch, because they are. I don't think they want to be. They try to be hip, they try to be cool, but it's not working. I'm not hip or cool either, so I don't really care. But it would be much nicer for the people that you're getting a paycheck from to be more aware of what's going on, but there is so many different things in the business aspect that they have to take into consideration, which is why they are so disconnected from the content creator and the viewer. So again, I hope this brings to light some of the reasons why YouTube themselves seem so out of touch. If you agree or disagree, I want to hear what you say down below. And yeah, I think that's really all I have for right now. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you Friday, possibly, hopefully. Good luck, guys. Bye.